everyone, welcome back to Not Macrame. My name is Nicole. In today's DIY tutorial, we will be going over a beginner-friendly large macrame wall hanging pattern using the 3 basic knots of macrame. So the wall hanging we will be making today is the one behind me, and I would consider this pattern as part 2 to the how to turn scrap cords into a wall hanging pattern that I released several weeks ago. If you guys are interested in seeing that tutorial, I'll post a link to that up here and also in the description below. This large wall hanging pattern is fairly similar to that smaller wall hanging pattern since it incorporates the same scrap cord techniques by attaching smaller strands of cord onto the wall hanging using Lark's head knots to create a fluffy shag fringe look, but then it also uses the wry weave knot to attach longer strands of cord onto the middle of the wall hanging to create another layer of fringe. Large wall hanging patterns are great for wall decor, but also great for backdrops, for weddings, for baby showers, bridal showers, or any event that uses a backdrop. So if you're looking for a beginner-friendly large wall hanging version, this may be right for you since it only uses the 3 basic knots of macrame, the Lark's head knot, the square knot, and the double half hitch knot. What's also great for beginners is that the knotting pattern used in this tutorial are fairly simplistic as well. We use several zigzag, square knot, and double half hitch knot patterns throughout, creating a diamond design with the square knot pattern at the top. We also leave some space in between the square knot diamond and the double half hitch knot pattern so that we're able to add that shaggy fringe look in between. And then once we're done the pattern at the top, we'll add another layer of fringe in the middle section of the wall hanging using the wry weave knot. If you guys are interested in trying a smaller scale project using the basic knots of macrame, first, before attempting this one, we do have a macrame wall hanging kit for beginners that goes through each of these knots in more detail first. So if you guys are interested in that, check out the link in the video description below. If you guys enjoy videos like this, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, and make sure if you haven't already, click subscribe to our channel so that you can stay tuned for more macrame videos just like this one. And with that, let's get started. Before we begin, you will need some materials and supplies. I've chosen to use 5mm single strand cotton cord for this pattern just because it is a larger wall hanging, along with a 36-inch long dowel. Before we begin the pattern, I just wanted to show you guys the cord that we will be using today. This is my 5mm single strand cotton cord from our foundation cord line. As you can see, it is a chunkier cord since it is thicker at 5mm in diameter. This is a super soft and sturdy cord, which makes it perfect for macrame artists at all levels. If you are interested, check out the link in the video description below. You will also need some scissors and measuring tape to measure the cord to get your cord lengths for the project. Once you have cut out the cord lengths at 260 centimeters long each, we're going to attach them one by one onto the dowel using a Lark's head knot. So folding one cord in half, we're going to take the loop end to the back of the dowel and then place the ends through the loop end. Pull on the cord ends to tighten the knot. I will show you once more how that is done. Fold a strand of cord in half and then take the loop end to the back of the dowel. Then pull both cord ends through the loop, and then pull on the cord ends to tighten the knot. Repeat this for a total of 54 times. Once all the cords have been attached onto the dowel, I'm going to turn the pattern around so that the loop end of the Lark's head knot is facing the back, and this will be our new front of the wall hanging. Separate the cords into groups of 16 cords each. And then with one 16 cord section at a time, we're going to repeat the same pattern throughout. So I will show you one pattern on one section and then you can repeat on all remaining 16 chord sections. So with one 16 chord section, take the middle 4 chords and make a square knot. A square knot is made with 2 opposite half knots. If at any time you're unfamiliar with the basic knots used in this tutorial, you can always refer back to my 50 knots in sentence tutorial, or I do have a separate tutorial that walks through the basic knots of macrame as well. And I will link that above here and in the description below. Then taking the left 2 chords underneath the square knot we just made, and then the 2 chords next to it on the left, make another square knot underneath. Continue this pattern diagonally 2 more times to the left. We're now going to repeat the same thing on the right side, mirroring what we just did on the left, for 3 diagonal alternating square knots downwards towards the right. So taking the right 2 chords underneath the middle square knot and then the 2 chords next to it on the right, make another square knot. Then continue this pattern diagonally to the right. And this is what the pattern should look like once the square knots are complete in an upside down V-shaped pattern. Now we're going to start a diagonal row of double half hitch knots. So starting with the middle 2 chords, take the middle right chord as the anchor chord and the middle left chord as a working chord for a double half hitch knot. Using the same anchor chord diagonally to the left, continue with the chords downwards on the left side with a diagonal row of double half hitch knots. Stop the double half hitch knots before you reach the second last chord on the left side. As you can see, there are 2 chords left on the left side. Now we're going to take the middle right chord and do the same thing towards the right and use that as an anchor chord for a row of diagonal double half hitch knots to the right. Stopping, of course, before you reach the second last chord on the right side. Repeat this pattern on the remaining 16 chord sections on the left and on the right. Once the sections are complete, we're now going to connect each of the sections together. So taking 2 sections side by side, we're going to connect them with a square knot. So take 2 cords from underneath each of the square knots and then make an alternating square knot. Then taking the anchor cords on the left and on the right from the double half hitch knot rows, we're going to finish off the double half hitch knot rows with the square knot cords that we had just made. So using the next cord down, we're going to use that as a working cord to finish off the double half hitch knot row on the right side. So 2 double half hitch knots on the right side, and then same thing on the left side. We're going to make 2 double half hitch knots and then finish off with 1 more double half hitch knot in the center. Now with the middle 2 cords, we're going to finish off with 1 more double half hitch knot, and I'm going to make it diagonally to the left. Close off all the remaining sections like what we did here. Once all the sections are connected, we're now going to work on the far left side, so continue down with 2 more diagonal double half hitch knots to the left, and then repeat the same thing on the far right side. Underneath one of the upside down V-shaped sections, we're going to work on a square knot pattern. So taking the middle 4 cords under one section, we're going to leave about an inch of space and make a square knot. Then similar to what we did above, we're going to make 3 more diagonal square knots to the left, and then 3 more diagonal square knots to the right. Repeat this pattern underneath all remaining sections. To connect the sections together, we're going to join with another square knot. So in between 2 sections, take the 2 cords from both sides and make an alternating square knot underneath. Then repeat on all remaining sections. Then underneath one of the sections, we're going to make a square knot with the middle 4 cords aligned with the square knots on the bottom of the left and the right. Repeat this middle square knot underneath all remaining sections. For this next part, we're going to close off the opposite design of what we did above. So starting underneath one section, we're going to close off the diamond square knot design. So instead of a V-shaped square knot, instead of an upside down V-shaped pattern, we're now going to finish with a V-shaped square knot pattern under one section. So starting on the left side, make a diagonal square knot to the right, then make 2 more to the right after that, and then on the right side we're going to make 3 diagonal square knots to the left and then close off with 1 more in the middle. Repeat this pattern underneath all remaining sections except the far left and the far right sections. So you should have the far left and far right sections not complete with the square knot pattern. To complete the left and right sections, what we're going to do is start off the left side of the right section with 3 diagonal square knots to the right, similar to the other sides. Then on the right side of the right section, we're going to make a consecutive square knot underneath the one above, and then close with 2 more diagonal square knots to the left. Then with the middle 4 cords, we're going to close off with 1 more square knot. Repeat the same thing on the far left side, mirroring what we just did on the right. Starting underneath the left section, we're going to make a diagonal row of square knots in a V-shaped pattern. So starting with the far left cord as an anchor cord, take the cord next to it on the right as a working cord for a double half hitch knot diagonally to the right, about 1 inch down from the square knot row above. Then continue diagonally to the right, stopping after the middle left cord underneath the bottom middle square knot. Then you're going to repeat the same thing on the right side of the pattern using a middle right cord underneath the square knot in the middle of the sections as an anchor cord for a diagonal row of double half hitch knots to the left. Stop after you've reached the middle right cord at the bottom of the square knot. Now with the middle two anchor cords, we're going to make one last double half hitch knot, and I'm going to make mine to the left. Repeat this V-shaped double half hitch knot pattern underneath all remaining sections. Starting on the left side, we're going to make a series of diagonal square knots similar to the row that we made above. So starting with the far left four cords, make a square knot, and then make two more diagonal square knots to the right. On the right side, take the middle four cords in between two sections and make a square knot. Then make three more diagonal square knots to the left. At the bottom of the V-shaped pattern, make one more square knot with two cords from both sides. Repeat this pattern underneath all remaining sections. Then skipping downward about 1.5 inches of space, we're going to repeat this exact same square knot row from left to right. So starting with the far left four cords, make a square knot, and then we're going to follow the exact same pattern, square knot zigzag pattern from left to right. So the actual knotting portion of the pattern is now complete. We're now going to take some of our smaller scraps at about 3 to 4 inches long, and we're going to attach them onto that space in between the double half hitch knot and the square knot diamond with lark's head knots. Fold the cord in half and then take the loop end behind one cord section in the space and make one lark's head knot. I'm going to do the same thing with another scrap cord right underneath it. So under one cord section in between the space, we're going to have 2 lark's head knots. We're going to repeat this pattern by skipping the next cord section and then taking the next cord section on the left. We're going to attach 2 more lark's head knots. So on every second cord within the space, we're going to attach 2 lark's head knots. We're not going to attach them on all of the vertical cord sections. Then repeat this along the space underneath all the sections from left to right. Once the top section is done, repeat the same thing on the bottom space underneath the square knot diamond. To get that fluffy texture, we're going to comb through the cords and then we're going to cut off all of the excess cords so that they are the same length. You're going to have to repeat the combing and the trimming throughout until you get your desired shape and texture. Once completed, this is what the texture should look like. And now we're going to take our longer scrap cords, if you have them, at 65 centimeters long each approximately. So anything from 60 to 65 centimeters should work. And then with 2 cords at a time, we're going to make a raya weave knot onto 2 cord sections in the space in between the last 2 rows of square knots. So taking the left 2 cord sections underneath the bottom of a square knot, we're going to weave 2 65 centimeter cords through the left and through the right sides in between 2 cord sections, and then pull both cord ends through the middle of the 2 cord section. And this is a raya weave knot. Then taking another 2 cords, repeat the same thing on the next 2 cord section within the space. Weave the cords on the left and right sides of the 2 cord section and then pull the cord ends through the middle of the 2 cord section. Repeat this pattern all the way through from left to right, except for the last 2 loops on the far left and the far right. Once the cords are all attached, you can see that some of my scrap cords are curled up a little bit. To straighten them, I'm going to use a steamer to straighten the cords out. This is a good tip for when you have curled up scrap cords or curled up cords in general. You can use a steamer to straighten out the cords. And now on to trimming at the fringe. This will likely take you the longest part of the pattern to get the fringe symmetrical. So we're going to start with the fringe layer that we added with the wire knots, and we're going to cut in the shape of the zigzag pattern that we have above. Continue trimming until you have your desired shape. Once the middle layer of fringe has been trimmed, we're going to do the exact same thing with the bottom fringe, and we're going to cut them in a zigzag shape, mimicking the zigzag pattern from the top. And this is what the end result should look like. And that's a wrap with the large wall hanging tutorial. I like that you can make a large scale wall hanging without having to be super advanced with macrame. By just knowing the 3 basic knots of macrame, the lark knot, square knot, and double half hitch knot, you can create as small or as big of a piece as you want it to be. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys thought of this pattern. If you guys do recreate this piece, make sure you guys share with me by tagging @bochinot on Instagram. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.